Hey guys, Stephen Cox here, and today we're going to be talking about the bass line for the Supreme song, You Keep Me Hangin' On. So if you like videos like these, please hit subscribe below and consider becoming a patron. So first we're going to learn a skeleton version of the bass line, which is about the simplest way that we can play the groove and have it still feel like the song. And we're going to do this over just the chorus section today. But after we get a skeleton version, we're going to add all these little nuances that James Jamerson does to make this bass line interesting. And this includes some chromatic walk-ups, some leading tones, and some cool rhythmic variations. So here's the skeleton of the bass line. So basically all we're doing here is using the root and the fifth of each chord, but not in a country style, but more in this Motown kind of style that matches the drum groove. So all of these notes are pretty much in the bass line with a couple of variations and exceptions here and there. So our first chord is an A flat major chord. So what we're going to do is we're going to play an A flat and then the fifth of that chord, which happens to be an E flat. So we're going to play the 6th fret on the D string 2 times. Then we're going to go to the E flat, which is the 6th fret on the A string. Then back to the A flat, back to the E flat, then back to the A flat. So that's, I'm going to say what string each note is on. This is the 6th fret either way. So we've got D, D, A, D, A, D, and those are just the strings. The actual notes are A flat, A flat, E flat, A flat, E flat, A flat. So let's play that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know we didn't talk about the rhythm, but basically we're playing 2 quarter notes followed by 4 eighth notes. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's going to be the pattern that we apply to all of the other chords. So next we have a G flat. So we're going to be doing the same pattern, just starting on the 4th fret on the D string. So that means we're only using 4th fret notes for this part, and we're playing the D string twice. Then we're playing A, D as far as the strings go. So it's all 4th frets on this section, and that's the 4th fret on the D string, which happens to be a G flat. We're going to play that 2 times, G flat, G flat. Then we're going to play the 5th of that chord, which happens to be a D flat. Then back to that G flat, back to the D flat, back to the G flat. So the next chord actually isn't a D flat, but it's a G flat over D flat. So for our intents and purposes, we're going to pretend like the root is D flat, which means we'll go back and forth between a D flat and an A flat note for the root going to the 5th of the chord. So that's going to be the 4th fret on the A string 2 times, then the 4th fret on the E string, 4th fret on the A string, 4th fret on the E string, and 4th fret on the A string. So far from the beginning we've got and then our last part, we're just going to play the root notes of these next 2 chords, and that's going to be an E and an E flat. And we're going to play them 2 times a piece, just as quarter notes. And that last chord really isn't an E flat chord. It's actually an A flat over E flat, but the bass note is what we're over. So that is going to be the E flat. So let's play that whole skeleton bass line together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the idea. So the cool thing about this bass line is if you were going to play this with the band, you could just play the skeleton bass line for the chorus of the song, and it would sound fine, it would fit the groove, it would fit with the drummer, and I think everybody in the band would be happy unless they're really wanting you to nail the bass line and they know how the bass line is supposed to sound. But otherwise, it sounds great the way it is. But James Jamerson is going to add a whole bunch of things to it, a lot of little nuances and some pretty cool stuff. So let me play what it sounds like with the additions and talk about each one. So this is just the first time around. He starts with a pickup into the bass line at the beginning of the song. 1, 2, 3. So let's talk about the different variations. First, we're going to be walking into the root note by doing the 5th of the chord, the 7th of the chord, into that root. So that means we're going to be starting on the 6th fret on the A string, which happens to be an E flat. Then we're going to be playing the 5th fret on the D string, and that note's a G, and then we're going to be going into our groove there. So that's just something to preface the first part of the skeleton line. So if we were just playing the skeleton line right after that introduction, we'd just be going. But instead we'll add a few notes. So that first measure is going to be 3 of the A flats, which is the 6th fret on the D string. And that rhythm is going to be 1E and a 2E and a. And then we're going to play our E flat one time, our A flat one time. That's just from our skeleton groove, just 2/8 notes. And then we're going to play another E flat. But then this time we're going to play an A flat quickly followed by an E flat. So that whole line, A flat, A flat, A, E flat, A flat, E flat, A, E flat. It's hard to say that all together, so I'm just going to play it for you. So what if I just say what strings we're plucking? We're going to be plucking the D string 3 times, the A string once, the D string once, A string once, D string once, then the A string once. So we've got this. D, 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 A, D, A, D, A. So that's just the first measure. It's still just those 2 notes though, just the root and the 5th. So that's over the A flat chord. Now when we go to the G flat chord, we've got this. So 4th fret on the D string 2 times, then the 6th fret on the A string, 4th fret on the A string, then back up to the 4th fret on the D string, then we're going to go back to the 4th fret on the A string, then we're going to go back to the 4th fret on the D string, and finally we're going to end with the 3rd fret on the A string, which will lead nicely into the 4th fret on the A string for the downbeat of the next measure. So let's play that measure together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play the first 2 measures together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next measure is written as a G flat over D flat, but I almost feel like Jamerson is treating this one as a D flat 7 chord just by how he's doing the bass line. So this is how it sounds. So basically what we're doing here is we're playing the root of the chord, or really in this case it's just the bass note of the chord. We're going to play it 2 times, and that's the 4th fret on the A string. Then we're going to play a whole step down from that, which is 2nd fret on the A string. Then we're going to play the 4th fret on the E string. Then we're going to play the 3rd fret on the A string, and this is really just a leading tone leading back into our D flat. From the 3rd fret, it's just a half step away from the 4th fret. And then we're going to go up to a G flat. So here's where it actually sounds like he is outlining the chord rather than using a leading tone or something, because he's hitting at G flat on the and of beat 4. So that part still does sound like the chord that we're playing, which is the G flat over D flat. And that's going to lead nicely into the next measure that starts on an E. That's just a whole step away, so that works quite nicely. So let's play that measure together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here is the last measure. This one has 2 chords in it, and we're going from an E chord to an A flat over E flat, which I like just thinking about as an E flat chord. So what we're doing here is we're just playing the root of the chord, which is the 2nd fret on the D string for that E note. We're going to play that twice. Then we're going to play an open D string, because that's a half step away from the next note we want, which is that E flat, which is the bass note of our next chord. We're going to play that 2 times. And then we're going to do this nice little walk-in back to an A flat to start the pattern over again. And then we'll end up on an A flat. So once again, that sounds like... So the important thing to take away from that measure is we can play root notes, followed by a leading tone into the next chord. So here we just surrounded that next note just by going back a fret from where we want to end up back to that fret. And then we added a cool rhythm by using 16th notes to make that quick move from the D note back into the E flat for the next chord. And then the other takeaway that you can do is that we can do chromatic walk-ins that are more than just one note. So instead of just doing the leading tone, to get back, we have 3 notes in a row leading into the A flat. Really 2 notes leading into the A flat, including the A flat as 3 notes. So if we played... So hopefully that gives you some ideas on how you can make a simple line a little bit more interesting, and kind of how James Jamerson approaches these things. So now let's play this whole line together. So we're going to start with the pickup note, which is going to start on beat 4. So 1, 2, 3. And from there, you can either just repeat this pattern or look at what other variations he has. Alright guys, that's it for this line. I hope you've enjoyed learning how James Jamerson approaches a simple groove and makes it a lot more interesting with some extra notes and a little bit of variation on the rhythm. So if you like videos like these, once again, hit like below, consider subscribing and becoming a patron where you can make your own request. This was actually a Patreon request for Alan. So I will see you guys next time, and that'll be the live stream this Thursday, as well as another video like this next Tuesday.